In the entire world, everything can be hidden for long enough except three: the sun, the moon, and the truth. It is time to get some truth about the Dayun XF300, also known as DY300XF. Have you seen a Boda Boda rider carrying 3 sacks of potatoes, a goat, and what looks like his entire extended family? This is a normal ritual and rite of passage, and most motorcycles sold in Kenya must be initiated to, especially the sub 300cc range and below, and the Dayun fits this category. So let's find out if this bike is the real deal or not. Here is what the Dayun themselves are claiming. The official spec sheet describes a 285.8cc single-cylinder engine, 4 valves, double overhead cam, liquid-cooled, producing 19.5 kilowatts, which, if you convert that into a language that most of us actually understand, is about 26 horsepower, arriving at 8,000 RPM. Now, 26 does not sound like a number that will win you a bar fight, but remember, we are not building a MotoGP bike. We are building something meant to survive Kenyan roads, Kenyan fuel, and Kenyan patience. And for that context, 26 horsepower is actually a very sensible number. The torque figure sits at 27.3 Newton meters at 6,500 RPMs. And torque, for anyone who has never been stuck behind a lorry on the Maimahiu escarpments, is the thing that actually saves your life when you need to overtake quickly. Here is something interesting. Dayun did not just stop at building an engine. They built what they proudly call 6 core technologies inside that little single-cylinder heart. There is a lighter camshaft and roller rocket arm set up to reduce internal friction, a newly coated piston to handle heat better, a mushroom-shaped cylinder liner forming technology which sounds like something out of science fiction film, but it is really just a clever way to make the cylinder wall last longer. A crankshaft offset designed to reduce vibration, a redesigned bearing brush structure, and large flow oil pump with a pressure regulating valve to keep everything lubricated properly, even when the engine is working very hard. Now, does an average rider in Eldoret care about mushroom-shaped cylinder liner technology? Absolutely not. But what that average rider does care about is whether the bike vibrates in his hands after 2 hours on the road, whether it burns oil like a diesel generator, and whether it still starts on a cold Kericho morning. And these 6 technologies, on paper at least, are Dayun's answers to exactly those 3 complaints that have haunted budget Chinese engines for over a decade. The fuel injection system EFI, as the brain part of this operation, is one of the most interesting parts of the story. These videos take us a long time to research and edit, so we kindly ask you to do us a favor on this one. Hit the thumbs up to like this video. It promotes the video and that helps us a lot. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you very much. So let's get back to the video. The XF300 uses what Dayun calls the Delphi Smart MT05.2 EFI system. And Delphi is not some random no-name company. It is an established global supplier that also works with far bigger manufacturers. So borrowing their electronic fuel injection technology is Dayun essentially saying, we know carburetors are dead and we're not playing catch-up. We are just playing to win. This EFI system is marketed for precise fuel-air combustion control, better fuel economy, and reliable cold and hot starting, which is a good thing for cold places like Molo, as well as hot places like Garissa, for our context here in Kenya. Because as we promised you, brutal honesty, real owner feedback collected from actual riders show that this same EFI system can be a little too sensitive for its own good. If you feed it low quality fuel, especially fuel with moisture contamination, which, let's be honest, is not exactly rare even at some fuel stations, the sensors can throw intermittent faults, the bike can hesitate, and you might find yourself standing by the roadside wondering if your motorcycle has suddenly developed a personality disorder or what. But this is not catastrophic or engine destroying flaw, it's just a real annoyance. And if you own this bike, you will want to be far more disciplined about where you fuel up than you'd ever need to. Whereas, well, as you know, The old carbureted commuter bike could basically drink anything and just forgive anything. On the stopping power, because we know acceleration is vanity but braking is sanity, and as they say, or at least as we just said because someone has to, the FX300 comes with dual front disc brakes and a single rear disc, and crucially it is fitted with Bosch ABS, which again is not a company you'd expect to find slamming in on budget-friendly 300cc adventure bikes, and yet here it is, doing exactly the job it does on much more expensive machines, preventing your wheels from locking up when you are panic braking because a cow just decided the middle of the road is a fantastic place to contemplate its life. This is genuinely significant safety feature at this price point, and it deserves real credit, because plenty of rivals in this exact category are still selling bikes with no ABS at all, gambling with your collarbones to save a few dollars in production cost. Dayun didn't take the gamble here, and that alone should move this bike up several places on anyone's shortlist who actually rides seriously rather than just posing for Instagram photos. So let's talk about suspension. This is where the X300 starts to genuinely flex its adventure touring ambitions and muscles for that matter. Up front you get inverted forks, the upside down design where the flatter part of the tube sits at the top near the triple clamp instead of the bottom near the wheel, which is a setup borrowed straight from serious sport and adventure machines because it offers better rigidity and more precise front end feel under hard braking and rough terrain. At the rear, you have an adjustable monoshock, meaning you can tune the preload depending on whether you are riding solo to work or two up with luggage heading to your rural home at Shags for the holidays. This is not baby stuff. This is the kind of suspension architecture you'd expect to find explained in glossy brochures, explained in premium machines and their spec sheets. For the ground clearance and the tires, here the bike wants you to believe it can leave the tarmac behind and go exploring, and to be fair, the number backs up that ambition. There is a 150mm ground clearance which will clear most Maram roads and modesty rocky sections. For the tire, it's a dual purpose tire with tread patterns designed to handle both tarmac grip and muddy slippery surfaces. This is not a hardcore dirt bike though, so don't get me wrong there. Let's be clear about that, because anyone expecting to conquer the kind of terrain a proper enduro machine would eat up for breakfast will be disappointed. But for the reality of most riders here in Kenya, which is just tarmac most days with the occasional detours onto dusty backyards, going to Tanzania through Namanga route for instance, you know, those kind, it should be fine. Now some other details that shows Dayun was actually thinking about trail riders and not just chasing spec sheet bragging rights. There is automatic sideway flame out. If this motorcycle tips over past a lean angle of roughly 65 degrees plus or minus 5 degrees thereabout, the engine automatically cuts itself off. Isn't that cool? Think about why that matters. A crashed motorcycle with the engine still running and the throttle possibly pinned open by the weight of that fall is a genuinely fire and secondary injury risk and hazard. This is a feature that exists purely to protect the rider in the worst moment of their day. Think about that. When they are already down and the last thing they need is a machine still trying to go eat fuel and spin its rear wheel next to their leg. It's a small line on the spec sheet, you know, but it's the kind of a small line that tells you a manufacturer actually thought about you and your worst day of riding. Now on to the practical stuff that actually decide whether you buy this bike or not. Starting with fuel and range, because as you know here in Kenya, fuel stations can be far and fewer. So as you leave the highway, there's something we call range anxiety, which is a very real thing here in Kenya. Welcome to my country 254. Alright, so the XF300 carries a 16-liter fuel tank, and Dayun claims that it translates to a range between 500 kilometers. Even if real-world riding with Nairobi traffic, you know, aggressiveness in overtaking and that occasional heavy traffic twist brings the number down somewhat, you're still looking at a bike that can comfortably do Nairobi to Kisumu or Nairobi to Mombasa on a single tank or very close to that. And anyone doing long distance touring or simply hates the ritual of stopping every 100 kilometers to refuel, that is a genuinely liberating number. For the boxes, literally the boxes, the bike comes factory fitted with aluminium side and tail boxes, described by Dayun as large capacity and quick release for convenience. alongside proper crash guards. This is where the adventure touring label earns its keep, because instead of stuffing a duffel bag to the back seat with bungee cords like every border guy heading up country for Christmas, carrying beer cranes and banana stalks and chicken and whatever, you get proper lockable waterproof storage built into the design from the factory, not bolted on as awkward aftermarket afterthought. If you're the kind of rider who actually goes to places, camps, carries tools, or just wants to bring home groceries without looking like you are smuggling sacks of charcoal, this feature alone changes the entire character of your ownership. How about ergonomics, which most reviews talk about far too little? The seat height is at 780mm, which by adventure bike standards is relatively reasonable, meaning shorter riders, and let's be honest, that includes a significant chunk of Kenyans' riding population, will actually be able to get both feet flat on the ground at a stop instead of doing that awkward tippy-toe dance that makes everyone at the junction nervous, watching you like you're about to fall over. Combine that manageable seat height with a 3-point sitting position, essentially a stance built for control across mixed road conditions, both commuting and light off-road use, and you get a bike that doesn't punish you for not being a 6 feet tall with the wingspan of a basketball player. For the lighting, you get full LED across the board, headlamps, taillights, and integrated hazard indicators. And while this might sound like a small footnote, riding Kenyan roads at night where potholes appear like uninvited guests and other road users treat headlights as optional decoration, proper bright LEDs is actually a genuine safety feature and not just a stylish flourish. Top speed is at 130 km per hour as per GPS verified, that is according to Dayun's own figures, paired with a 6-speed manual gearbox, giving you enough gear spacing to keep the engine in its sweet spot, whether you are crawling through Nairobi's infamous Thika Road traffic or actually stretching your leg to the open highway towards Nakuru. Now let us start being useful on this review. Good review is a useful one, but we also need to be brutally honest. Now, the carb weight, which sits at 170 kilograms, and while that is entirely reasonable for a touring-focused adventure bike machine carrying panniers, guards, a bigger fuel tank, real owner consistency report that this weight becomes noticeably tiresome during tight, low-speed maneuvers in urban areas, the kind of stop-and-go squeeze between matatus, riding that defines daily commuting Nairobi or Mombasa. This is not a deal-breaker, however, for open-road touring, where the weight actually helps in stability. But if 90% of your riding life is spent on doing traffic gymnastics in the city center, you will feel this bike's mass in your wrist and shoulders by the end of the long day in a way you simply wouldn't on a lighter 150 commuter. One other honest issue, and this one matters more than the term suggests, is part availability. Because this is still relatively specialized import compared to the ocean of generic 150 commuter cc bikes flooding every corner shop in the country, sourcing specific electronic components or particular body panels outside major urban centers can genuinely take some time, sometimes days, sometimes even longer. If you live somewhere far from the network and something breaks that isn't simply a universal part, you may find yourself waiting and waiting on a broken motorcycle, which is one of the most frustrating experiences known to humankind, ranking somewhere between waiting for Kenya Power to restore power and waiting for a matatu conductor to give you your correct change. You know what I'm talking about. The XF300 is playing an entire different spot, with genuine more power, better brakes, proper suspension, and road touring capability that smaller bikes simply cannot match. Full stop. We were bringing it all back from where we started, on that foggy Nakuru highway with the matatu, the goat, and the sack of potatoes, because that image was never just a decoration. It was the entire point. That is the real test any motorcycle sold in Kenya must pass. Not polished mushroom under studio lighting, but a genuine chaotic and forgiving road where mechanical honesty gets exposed within the first 100 kilometers. The Dayun XF300 walks into the test with genuinely capable liquid-cooled engine built on 6 thoughtful internal technologies. Bosch ABS that plenty of pricier rivals still don't offer. Proper adjustable expansion borrowed in spirit from far more expensive machines. A fuel range long enough to make a range anxiety someone else's problem. A factory touring storage that turns every trip into an actual journey instead of a bungee cord improvisation. And a small thoughtful safety detail like the automatic sideway flame out that shows someone in that design team was actually thinking about you and your worst day, not just your Instagram worthy best photos. if you want the honest one-line verdict to repeat to your friend who's asking whether to buy this thing, the Dayun XF300 is proof that you no longer need a premium badge to get premium features. You just need to be willing to carry a little extra weight through traffic and be patient if something unusual ever breaks. And for most riders chasing genuine adventure touring capability on a realistic budget, that trade-off is very much worth making. Now that you know exactly what this bike gets right and exactly where it still needs to grow up, stick around because next week we are putting one of these closest rivals through the exact same brutal fact. And trust me, that comparison is going to get spicy. You already know what to do. Subscribe down below, like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'm walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for me. I've been flying from town to